welcome to the podcast. Happy podcast day,
Thank
Falcon.
you. Yes, what a wonderful podcast day it is.
It is. It's a lovely rainy day.
Yeah, it's a nice cold day here. It's been hovering around 30 degrees or so, under freezing.
Sounds
So,
lovely.
and yeah,
I
the
honestly,
wind
I,
makes it
I would,
worse.
I would stop. I would trade. It's
Yeah?
it's currently only 20 degrees Celsius, which is like 70, just under 70 Fahrenheit. But humidity is at 90%.
Whoa. Yeah, that's gross. Nobody wants 90%
Yeah.
humidity. Yep, okay.
Yeah.
So
No,
step outside and you're just like, bleh.
it's not good. Yeah.
Just an immediate bleh.
Real bleh.
Yes. Yeah, kind of got snow starting the day before Thanksgiving and then just kind of through the weekend. Not a lot of it, didn't have to shovel it all, but just kind of, it was weird. Like, we don't usually get days where it's snowing the whole day, but it's not enough to accumulate.
Mm. So,
Usually, if it snows all day, you got a foot of snow to shovel,
right, but it's still just melting off as it lands, more or less.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just warm enough and it was just like light enough. The snow wasn't heavy. Anyway, that was nice. I'll take it. It was pretty. The snow was pretty and it didn't cause any accidents that I saw and it wasn't hard to drive in, so we'll take it.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, if it's gonna snow, you want to still be able to drive. That's nice.
Yeah, if I don't have to shovel my driveway and I can drive in it and not, you know, almost die, that's the best snow.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Uh, Problems I don't think I'll ever have.
Probably not, unless you make a very big move at some point in your life.
I don't rule it out. I guess. I mean, I guess I do deal with rain. Like if it rains, I don't ride my bike to work. So,
Right.
but if it's light enough, I probably will. Like if it doesn't rain when I go to work, I ride my bike, and then if it's raining when I'm leaving, it's like, well, shit, I gotta get home. Gotta take my bike home. I can't leave it at work.
Yeah, tragically.
Fortunately, I'm not made of sugar, so I can ride in the rain. Right.
Right.
But I'd rather not.
Yeah, I imagine if you were made of sugar, you'd have other concerns, but that would be one of them. Yes. That would definitely be on the list.
That is just a phrase that because like my housemate got me just scrolling on YouTube Shorts, like 'cause she sends me TikTok, so I sent her Shorts, and there was one that was talking about like cycling culture in European cities because they just like bike everywhere, and like it's a
Hmm.
German or it's a Dutch expression that when people go, but do you ride everywhere even in the rain? They're like, yeah, well, we're not made of sugar, like as as an excuse for like you can like you're not fragile, you'll be fine, right?
Right.
You're not gonna melt.
Unless you're a Wicked Witch of the West, but yes, correct.
Mm, I'm pretty sure she faked her death with the water, didn't she?
Oh, what?
Have
Is
you
there
seen
deep
Wicked?
Wizard of Oz lore that
Have
I'm unfamiliar
have
with?
you, have you
I've
seen
not seen Wicked, no.
Wicked? Is fantastic. I saw it when I was in high school, so it's been a while.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure the whole melt in water thing is false news. Like
Oh,
it's
that's amazing.
yeah, spoilers, I guess.
You know what's amazing is that I know a ton of the music from it because
Yeah.
my ex was
Mm.
super into it when it came out, and her and her friend. Like, I remember one time we drove down from college to home for Thanksgiving and they sang it the whole way. So
Oh really?
I know all the songs. I don't think any of the songs dealt with
Mm.
faking your own death via bucket of water.
Ah.
So
I,
I missed that part of the story, huh?
It has been a while since I heard any of the songs, and I could be misremembering. Let's not.
I'm not gonna look into it. I
Yeah,
believe you. Mm-hmm. Yep.
yeah. I'm an authority on this.
It's,
Let's just roll with it.
it's a relatively interesting spin on the Wizard of Oz story if you want to do that. So I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna complain. Yeah. Yep. 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 Yep.
Yeah. So I wanna complain about Dark Tide for a minute. The Warhammer
Okay.
40k Left
This
4 Dead
is
esque game.
This is the
Uh,
same Dark Tide where they were like, "We're gonna release something awesome soon," and you were like,
when? Because they
"When's
were
that?"
like
And then they
it.
were like, "A day later."
Yeah, because they were like in November sometime, and
Yeah.
then November 5th, they're like, it's here. I'm like, wait, care. They have their own little built-in achievements, right? Like they have Steam achievements, and then they have their own stuff internally, right? All it
Uh-huh.
does is give you some cosmetic. Some of them give you cosmetics that I don't really care about because all my characters, I have clothes that I like. I don't. Nothing's gonna change my mind. But I like seeing the score go up because there's only a finite number of these, and like so it's a reason to play, basically. One of the
Yes.
ones that I've been doing is uh like it's called like perfect streak or something, right? Like I don't remember what it's called. Flawless execution is what it's called. And it is for completing games on the mid-tier difficulty, what's basically considered normal by the community, right? It's 3 out of 5, it's fine, it's not hard, but you have to complete first 5 missions without going down, right? So you can go down and then you can die. So just don't go down for 5 missions in a row on that tier of difficulty or higher. You get the first level, and then 10 missions, and then 15. And I got 10 missions today, this morning, and 2.9% of players have completed that achievement. So,
Uh, Okay. Pretty good
so
one.
yeah, it's not hard. You just need to, random into people or have a team who know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the problem is missions can go for anywhere between 20 and like 45 minutes. So doing 10 in a row took me all morning. I think I played for like 4 or 5 hours, like 2 a.m. to 7, right?
Yo. Okay.
And then I ran him into a group. I'm on mission 11 out of 15. I'm pretty sure that because I've just hit quick play, and it's sometimes throw me in missions that are nearish to the end, like the nearer to the end than the other beginning, the game has said, this one doesn't count, right? Even though I didn't go down, right? So because I'm like looking at the number at the tracker, and it's like 11 out of 15, 11 out of 15. I'm like, but I did a mission. But
Yeah.
it could just be bugged, or it could just be because I didn't do the full mission, which I don't know, but it's annoying. And then you've
Hmm.
played Left 4 Dead, right?
Yeah.
I ran him into a group. I spawn in. It's like 2 minutes into the level, right? So it's very near to the start, but after like the first engagement of fights,
Yeah.
the bot that I take over is missing 90% of its health, right?
What the? Okay.
All right, because that's the thing that can happen. You just get given the bot that was there, and my teammates are like, "Hey, what's that over there?" I'm like, "That's a witch. Don't startle the
Don't
witch."
startle the witch.
And
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, let's go startle the witch." I'm like, "Fuck you guys, fuck all of you." And so, they go off and die. It's just me alive. I'm like, okay, I know where the next hell station is. I'm playing a zealot, which means if I die once, like my HP hits 0, I come back on like 1 HP, right? Like I'm just not dead once. But yeah, it
Yeah.
happens once every 2 minutes. And I also have my alt ability or whatever is I do this like chanting because I'm a preacher basically that stuns all the enemies, buffs my shields, and I can just use that to like walk through hordes and get to the healing station. And then once I've healed up, I can drop a couple of flame grenades, just cook everyone out because they don't hurt me. It'll be fine. I can do this. My entire team is dead. I get to the healing station. I get it. And then, okay, I just got to drop down this ledge, walk over, and I can see the all my dead teammates there waiting to be rescued. I can just go over there and untie them. I get the first one up and dead. I die because there's like a guy with a flamethrower. I'm getting hoarded, surrounded.
Ah.
5 hours worth of work gone. Got to do it again. Because the achievement is 15 in a row.
Right. That's a lot of time and a lot of RNG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, just to sub it off, I was like really annoyed, but I was looking at, like, there's a mission because they're sorted by like type. So there's like, here's the penance for heretics or mission types or defensive, where this one is. It's under defensive. The one below it is complete 100 missions without going down, just cumulatively, right? So I've done that.
Good grief. That's a
Right.
lot though, but yeah, okay.
Just never more than 11 in a row.
Yeah.
Now I gotta do 11 in a row again. Ugh. Why video game? Why?
Oh, yeah. Because the world is a cruel place and RNG does not
Mm,
love anyone.
mhm.
And I mean, anytime you have to group with people to complete an objective, it's just
Well,
good
I
luck,
mean,
man.
the entire game is full player co-op, right?
Yeah. So
So,
there you go. That's what I'm saying.
you would think that like the people that I have to group with know what they're doing because it's all you do. It's all you do.
That's not how this works.
But it has to be. It's like
You can
it's like playing tic tac toe with a random online who's trying to put down triangles. Like, why? You know how this works. Just put that.
no. You know that whole Men in Black quote? Imagine all of humanity and hang on a second. Think of
Do you know that?
an average intelligent person, and know that half of all humanity is dumber than that person.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So there you go. People are dumb. People don't know what they're doing. I guarantee if there's some online tic-tac-toe service, and I'm sure there is, just run into some idiot who doesn't know how to play and just like throwing down their X's randomly and losing every game and just like ruining it for everybody. Or
Right,
chess, online chess. Someone who just like has no idea what they're doing and gets crushed every time. And
yeah, but
why are they playing chess? Who knows?
right, but at least in those 1v1 environments, if they're having fun throwing every game, good for them.
I just imagine them raging out behind the scenes. They're like, "Why can't I win?"
Here's the annoying thing: there is literally no rewards for defeating the witch, like none, right?
Right.
So there are weekly quests that you can get, and you can get one that is to defeat 6 monstrosities. The witch counts as a monstrosity, so it can get you this contract, but there are tons of other non-optional bosses that you have to fight that are way easier than the witch, right? Because the witch,
Yeah.
whoever startles it gets pounded on consistently, and there's an aura of damage that it also afflicts onto everyone else. It's called corruption, so it doesn't actually hurt you, it just lowers your max HP slowly over time, right?
Which sounds like it's hurting you, actually.
It does, but like if you're already missing a bunch of health, it still starts at the top, right?
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah,
situational. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so everyone just agrees, avoid it. Just avoid it. Everyone who plays it just agrees, avoid it. But there are things called grimoires. So when you pick a mission, it'll be like, hey, this mission's got grimoires. You only have to find 2, right? And they take up your item slot. So instead of having like a health pack or an ammo pouch, you can carry a book. If you get it to the end of the level, you get bonus XP and money. It's great. But it also applies a chunk of corruption damage to you, right? It's not like over time, it's just there. And if you heal corruption, it reapplies it because you're still holding the book. Even though there are tangible benefits, everyone gets extra XP, everyone in the party gets extra money, every single player is like, don't take them, don't pick them up. It's never worth it. And it's like, but it is worth it. It's worth it to literally everyone.
Yeah.
Does my
So,
head in.
so it sounds like you understand what I'm saying here about
Yeah,
the
yeah, of course
player base.
of course I
Okay.
understand. I'm frustrated and upset and want to complain.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that's funny.
This is my ZVZ is bullshit, right? Where
Right.
you just want to complain and I have to go, yeah, I understand, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Well,
All right. Dark Tide, online multiplayer co-op.
in other news, if you are in Dark Tide and want to learn to know what you're doing, so you can help me with this, it's on sale for
Is it
30%
a
off.
Cyber Monday sale?
I do believe it is a Cyber Monday sale.
Ooh.
35% off. It is currently 58.46 Australian, which is basically free US. So
It's like 4 cents American. Yeah.
yeah.
$58.
Oh, that's the like Uber edition. That's the Imperial edition. You can just get the game for 38.96.
Hot didgeridoo.
Yep.
Hmm. All right. Well, frustrating times.
And I could stream it. Yes, I could stream it. I don't want. I get frustrated with this game. I like it. I like it a lot, but I will play one level and then quit the game for 20 minutes and then come back. I can't stream on and off every 20 minutes.
That's amazing. You just have little chunk streams throughout the evening. It's not one long stream. It's just like I played something and it's over. Then 20 minutes later, another one starts up.
I've considered it.
I like it. That's fantastic. Oh, Bovine Slime redeemed. Does the codex support this action for 2,000?
Yeah. 2,000 fun bucks.
Fun bucks. Fun bucks.
Yeah. The Codex Astartes does support the action of buying Darktide. Highly recommend.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Thanks, Codex Astartes support question.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Pretty sure
All right.
That's supposed to come with a question. Apparently, that's the ask me a question, get an answer. Redeem.
Oh. All right, Bovine Slime. We got to come up with a question now.
Yep, you got to pair it to something. We'll wait. I'm just kidding. Let's
In the
move
meantime, I'm going to look at ESL winter stuff.
Literally nothing's happened in the week.
That's what I'm seeing.
Literally nothing.
Did they announce any dates at all?
I don't think so. Actually, something has happened, which is I went and grabbed my tablet and just put Twitch on watching ESL reruns because they stream literally nonstop, just reruns on a loop all time until the next live event. And so I am clocking up their fun bucks so that I can gamble with them, the channel points for the next one.
So you can bet on a ZVZ like an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I bet on everything in the for the regional finals that I watched. I bet on everything. I lost every single bet.
You didn't just bet on Cyril the whole time? Actually, that's not enough?
No, okay, so you're right. I did bet on, because I only caught like the last like 3 games of each playoff, right? And so I think for Cyril, I did bet on Cyril, but by that point I only had like 700 fun bucks left, and everyone bet on Cyril, so the return was like 1.5%.
Okay, they're smart then, how they do it.
Yeah.
Because it's got odds and everything. It's like Vegas.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, fine. Here we go. Got our question.
Will they pick up the second Baldur's Gate playthrough? We'll get back to that. We're not done with it. I mean, I'm not done with it. Falcon, are you done with it? Did you finish the game without me?
No. Okay. I'm pretty sure I was the one to ask about Baldur's Gate streaming last time, and you're like, no, I want to sleep. So it's in your court, man.
But you're always the person, like, you were like, hey, Baldur's Gate time, and I go, sure. It was entirely dictated by your schedule.
Fine. I will have all the responsibility, I suppose.
Yeah, that's how it worked for the entire first one as well.
and
the entire
schedule for the first one.
The schedule was every day for the first one.
Yeah, but like I had a normal start time.
Did it?
Sometimes it was early. You're right.
Okay.
Anywho, yeah. All right, fine. I will ping you then at some point.
Alrighty.
That's what the plan is, Bovine. So yeah, seriously, nothing for ESL.
Absolutely.
Because last time we talked about it, we were like, okay, cool. They did all the regionals, and now we're just waiting for the dates for the main event, and they'll have the dates soon, and then they did not. Nope. I guess.
They've still got like 20 days before the event's actually supposed to start. So.
Right.
Tune in next week for also no new updates.
Tragically.
Tragic.
Certainly hope not. All right, neato. So none of that StarCrafty thing's happening. What else? What else is happening in the world? Oh, so a couple things in the TV front. Did finish the first 4 episodes of Invincible season 2.
Okay.
And I have some thoughts.
Okay.
Have you watched it?
Nope. I've seen some clips.
So, yeah. So remember how you were like, we were talking about this probably offline or something, but they introduced the concept of multiverse, like the very first thing in episode 1 of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here is multiverse. And both of us were like, multiverse.
Right.
We're all multiversed out. And then they don't do anything with it for the
Mm.
next 3 episodes.
Mhm.
Like, the whole first episode is multiverse, here's a villain dedicated to multiverse.
Right.
And then they're like, "Nah, the next 3 episodes are gonna be about, the fallout from Omni-Man, what he did at the end of season 1, and, that's pretty much it." And I was like, "What? Okay."
Mhm.
I just it doesn't make any sense. It's like they did it, and then somebody in the studio was like, "We can't do more multiverse stuff. Everyone's multiversed out." So they're like, okay." And then they wrote 3 different episodes instead of what they were planning on doing.
So my theory for this is they're setting it up and being like, hey, multiverse is a thing, yo. And then they're gonna let you forget about it for a little while, and then they're gonna come back to it hard for next season. Um,
I
because
don't see how they don't, because man, did they set that up.
so you said you know some people who've like read the comics and are like, yeah, they're pretty close to it, right?
Yeah.
So because I'm endlessly scrolling on YouTube Shorts now, I have seen one that was talking about what's happening in the comics, and boy, is that some multiverse shit.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't even know when the second half of the season's supposed to come out, but I guess when it does, we'll see.
Yeah, no idea. No idea.
Yeah.
Um,
But I mean, I did really enjoy the whole, like, let's see some fallout for Earth's Superman analog turning into a raging asshole who murders thousands of people and the entire
mhm.
League of, Justice
Justice
League,
League, yeah.
and then fucks off into space. And everyone's like, "What happened?" Just like left to pick up the pieces. Because I feel like Marvel's had a problem with this for a while now, where something traumatic will happen and then they
Oh,
can't let it sit. They
right.
can't deal with the fallout.
Right. They
The
can't
snap
show.
happens and they can't really deal with it.
Right, because I mean, I I would say Marvel's had that issue probably for all time in their comics because all the comics are loosely set now, right? And you need,
Right.
as part of like the background world, you just need to know that the world runs like the world it does here, right? Where Shield is a government agency, right? And so it functions kind of like that. It has jurisdiction, and you know, it's just a way to try to make things grounded. But the problem is superheroes aren't grounded. They do crazy shit. Stuff affects
Yes.
the world,
Or it
uh,
should.
or it should. Um, the problem is you don't want to lose that grounded background setting, you know?
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
so I don't think it's a problem that'll ever get fixed, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is a
Um,
bummer.
at best, maybe you can hope for, I don't know, a series to kind of like wrap up like Logan, the way Logan did, where it's like, hey, we're suddenly gonna like flash forward 20 years. The characters will have major impacts, and the world will kind of be different. Like people will know who the X-Men were, you know, like there'll be comic books and stuff about them. They'll reference that, but then the show will end, you know.
Right. And that'll be the end of that story. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. A lot easier to do it that way for
right.
sure.
Because then you don't have to write 12 episodes of how the world has changed. You just need to show it is, right? And then
Hmm.
wrap it up real quick.
Yeah. And be awesome, because holy
Oh,
smokes, Logan is great.
it's good stuff.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I didn't realize how much of the episodes 2, 3, and 4 are really just about dealing with the fallout of what happened with Omni-Man. Because there's a storyline of like they selected new guardians to try to take the place of the old ones, but like they kind of suck. Like there's all these problems there. There's this infighting. They don't really like each other. They're not working as a team.
Mm-hmm.
It shows them on a couple missions, and there's all this collateral damage that's happening because they don't know how to keep that down. And it's just like, okay, actual fallout of what happened when the Justice League got wiped out. Like, it's just good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Mark's mom is just an absolute wreck because of course she is.
Right.
Because the man that she spent, I don't know what, 20 years of her life with basically said you were a pet to me and fucked off. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a superhero that does that. Anyone does that to you, and you are screwed up for a while. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
glad they're sitting with that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mark's not quite sure what he's doing. Like he's going to college, but just sort of going through the motions. Like he's obviously super depressed. And I mean, just it's a lot of that stuff happening. So yeah, it's good. It's good. And then at the end of season episode 3, Mark, because he's an idiot, this alien shows up and he's like, "Hey, come to my homeworld. Meteors are destroying our planet, and only you can save us."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay." It's like the third day of school. It's like, so you don't know this alien. You don't know this isn't a trap.
How does
You're
this
just
alien
good,
know of you? Not a lot of news
right?
getting exported off Earth.
Well, I mean, that's what the alien said. He's like, "We've heard about Invincible, and we know what you can do, and you can save us." And it's like,
But how?
right? So he hops on a spaceship and he travels like 5 million light years to this planet. And turns out it's Omni-Man. He's like, yeah, I lured you here under false pretenses after lying to you for your entire life. What a smooth move by me."
Dad of the year. Yep.
I know. He's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
He's the worst. So what I like about that is that Omni-Man feels bad for what he did to Mark because he has feelings for his son, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure.
We saw that at the end of season 1,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
But that doesn't
Mo-
redeem him.
Most of those feelings, by the way, bruises on Omni Man's knuckles.
Yes. Yes.
Just gonna throw that out there just so everyone reminds that when he left, Mark was in a vegetative state on the
I
side of a
mean,
mountain.
it got memed to absolute death. I think everybody remembers that scene.
I mean,
Think, Mark, think. Right? But
right.
so just what I like about this is that he feels bad about Mark. He wants to fix things with Mark, but he hasn't changed that much.
Right.
Right? He's still manipulating him. He's still lying to him. He still doesn't really understand that what he did was
Wrong.
incredibly destructive to many, many people.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's interesting because they've got Omni Man in a place where he clearly has feelings and is trying to make reparations to his son, but doesn't recognize people still is like equal to him. Like he doesn't
Right.
acknowledge the fact that he killed tens of thousands of people probably, and
Yeah.
that's bad. He's still in a position of like, well, no, I'm a Viltrumite. Killing, he still holds the belief that killing a couple of people now is better than the Empire killing almost everyone.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. It's the ant corollary. Like we don't think anything about wiping out an anthill.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees us the same way. Part of it is the longevity of his lifespan, and part of it is the Viltrumite culture that he was raised in and that he was trained in, and that's who he is. That's what he was brought up to be.
For sure.
So I like that. A lesser show would have been like Omni-Man feels bad for almost killing his son, and now he's good. Now he understands the value of human life. It's just like, okay, that would be really bad. But these writers are smart, so I like it.
Did I tell you that I watched the movie Cocaine Bear?
No, I don't think you mentioned that.
Okay, so this was like a month ago, maybe. I watched the movie Cocaine Bear because I was like, I just want something I can turn my brain off and like laugh at. And there's a guy whose son has died. No, he's not. No, he's still got his son. He's not being a very good dad because his wife died. And he's sitting at a bar. He's like drinking his sorrows away. And the dialogue they wrote to reflect this was him when approached by a friend, and he's like, his friend is trying to get him to go back to like dealing drugs or something for his crime lord of a dad. That's where all the cocaine comes from. He's like, I'm so sad. That's the dialogue they gave him. Like, that's verbatim.
I mean, yeah, it's Cocaine Bear, I guess.
It's Cocaine Bear. So, you know, the idea that that there are other shows presenting nuanced opinions and positions, I'm just glad that exists still.
Yeah, super nice. Always nice to see it. Always appreciated. So then it gets even worse for poor Mark. Okay, Mark, I think the point of this show is to put Mark through the ringer. I really do. Like, just things are never good for Mark.
Uh-huh.
So he shows up and his dad's like, "What's up?" I called you here because I need your help. And it's like, what? Okay,
Mhm.
fine, I guess. He's like, where's the meteor shower? And he's like, there isn't one. I had them lie about that. And he's like, I got to show you something real quick. And Mark's like, fuck off, old man. I don't trust you. And he's like, no, really, you got to see this thing. And he's like, first of all, just tell him what the thing is,
Right.
Omni-Man. Like, I
Right.
really hate this trope in dialogue writing so much.
Mhm.
And finally, Mark relents and he's like, okay, fine. So he goes in, and Omni-Man's like married to an alien lady and they have a baby. That's what he wanted to show Mark. And Mark's like, what is happening?
He's like, hey, just remember my position in your life and your species just as meaningless as it's ever been.
Right. I found myself on a new planet and I just did the same thing because that's what I do. And Mark's like, I cannot handle this. So, while Mark is reeling from that, Omni-Man's like, so the Viltrumites figured out that I'm here and they're pissed off because I abandoned Earth. And they're extra pissed off because I had an alien baby with a species that isn't close enough to Viltrumite biology. You're supposed to only have children with like humans and race purity stuff going on here,
Right. Which is
right?
interesting. That makes me just like, is it a function of the Invincible universe that human standard is just the kind of thing that pops up over the universe? Right.
I guess. I mean, we definitely see a lot of aliens that are not human.
Hmm.
But yeah,
But
how frequent is it?
right, but like Omni Man is still able to
Procreate.
sire a child even with things that are beyond the standard deviation,
Bug people.
bug
Yeah.
people specifically in this case.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes. Which is
um
like, I don't know what we're doing here exactly, but okay.
did she lay an egg? Like, what's going on?
Don't know. They don't really show us anything, any of the nitty gritty. There's just a baby
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that looks like a human baby, but it's blue. Whatevs,
Yeah.
right? So, so Omni-Man's like, I'm pretty sure the Viltrumite Empire knows that I'm here, and they're on their way to come kill all these people, especially this cute, adorable baby, and take me back to the home planet. And I need your help to save these people. And Mark's like, what is going on? You think you have the right, after everything you did to me, to now ask for my help?
Yeah.
And
um
Omni-Man's like, well, you're a good person. You're going to do it. And Mark's like, oh my gosh.
so here's
Like,
the
just absolutely taking advantage of that he's a good dude.
I think Omni Man is trying too hard here, right? Like, I think he's had that kid entirely to try and entice Invincible into helping him. Yeah, entirely.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's the only reason he's
right?
done that. But at the same time, if there was a legitimate issue, we know Invincible would have helped anyway. Like, because he did.
Right.
He believed there was an issue and came anyway.
Yeah. Yep. And that's, I mean,
It's
again,
still
that's,
it's another great way of showing that Omni Man just doesn't understand his son.
or
Um,
he does.
mm, I don't know.
I mean, he understands him enough to know that he's not going to walk away from a helpless people if he can help them. Right.
Right. But he's still
That's
just
all.
like,
But
he's
he
just
didn't need to go to these lengths to do that, is what you're
right.
saying.
And I
Yeah.
mean, here's the thing: how did the Viltrumites find him? Like, I haven't seen the episode up, but I've seen the clips of them talking at that
Well,
point.
here's what drives me nuts about this is
You know?
that we had a whole half of an episode with Alan the alien.
Mhm.
Remember the one who came to
Yeah,
Earth
yeah,
and he was
yeah.
supposed to go to Uroth?
Mm-hmm.
He gets tracked down by Viltrumites who hear that he knows about Invincible and he knows about Omni-Man, right? Because he
Mm,
does.
right.
And they're like, tell us about Invincible. Tell us about what happened. Like, tell us all about Earth. And he's like, no, screw you guys. And so they beat him half to death.
Right.
He doesn't tell them anything.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next thing we hear about the Viltrumites, they're coming to this planet. And it's like who?
It's implied that the torture eventually worked.
No, they leave him unconscious and bleeding with his eyeball hanging out of his eye and guts spilling out in space.
Mm.
And then they leave.
And then they just rock up at Bug Planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, we
Neat.
missed a step in this process.
Neat. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Because the way you described it earlier was that, like, the Viltrumites have found Nolan specifically because he's had an alien kid, right? Like, that's
No.
that's like something that tipped them off somehow.
Oh, no, no, no. Just
Or
they're gonna be mad when they find out there's an alien kid.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Uh, the logistics of the Viltrumite Empire still don't make any sense to me. It's like, okay, Nolan abandoned his post on Earth. Was there a Viltrumite stationed on Bug Planet? If not, just reassign him. Call it good, right? Like, you give your operatives so much independence and like discretionary power that I don't think
Ooh.
this should be an issue within your organization. This feels like, you know, there was a Viltrumite on Earth, and now there is one. It's just not Omni Man anymore. Just like, get Mark to do it.
Yeah. I mean, yes. The thing is, the Viltrumites are hardcore unreasonable to an extreme with pretty much everything they do. So yeah, I think it's within their character to be like, you left Earth, you must die, right?
Mm, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. So so Mark's like, what can I do? I can't defeat a Viltrumite. I can't defeat you. Like, what am I supposed to do? And Nolan's like, we can train. We can train together for like weeks and then you'll be ready when they come. And Mark's like, okay. And then they show up. It's like, oh.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's fantastic because they do a good job of being like, Mark can't do this. Maybe with a bunch of training he can. And then like, okay, just kidding. Training's not happening, which is amazing.
Right.
So yeah, then there's like Viltrumite fighting, which has the same problem of air fist fights that Marvel and DC have, where
Like,
it's hard. It's harder to communicate the like ferocity and power of a punch if you're in the sky. Like you can still do it. You hit someone and they go woo, but if you
right.
hit someone and they crash into a building or they hit the ground and it like there's a hole into the sewer now,
Right.
it's just easier to communicate what's going on,
Right.
right?
Yeah. It's
So
oh god, I can't remember the movie, but like some like famous director was like, we need to spend a month waiting for the sky to have clouds so we can film this like dog fight in the clouds. Otherwise, no one will be able to tell how fast the planes are moving because they need something in the
yeah,
background, right? Like,
it's
yeah,
exactly like that, exactly like that. So there's a bunch of that happening. There's a question of how do you kill a Viltrumite that comes up.
stab them.
Well, I guess, but like Nolan cuts a guy almost in half.
Mm.
Like his guts are all spilling out, and he's like, blah. And then he comes back later, and it's like, so does that normally kill a Viltrumite? Nolan, did you leave him? Maybe thought he was dead, but you weren't sure. Is there a way to be sure? Can you just chop their head off? Are they like
So
Mike Myers? Like, what are we doing here?
So yeah, I mean that's a question that'll need to be answered about like what makes
Yeah.
a Viltrumite because you got to remember that when Omni Man is training Mark about how to use his powers and like how to fly, he's talking about how they can redirect their position, like their body's position in the universe, like so they can like push off nothing, right? Like they basically
Yes.
they don't
Yes.
fly through aerodynamics, like they can just do this thing, and so it's like, well, you cut out my intestines, but you just broke the skin and everything kind of fell out. Like that's not an issue for me. I'm still holding it all in the same way that I fly, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Something like that.
um, it's
So, yeah, so I just
questions.
there needs to be a standard for how you kill a Viltrumite because that does not do it.
Right, but I would worry that they would go too far and be like, well, it's silver bullets or a steak, you know, and then suddenly you have
Mm,
this like get out of issue free card because you gave them a gun that instantly kills Viltrumites when it hits them, right? And it's like, oh, okay, so all tension is gone if you're holding the magic rod, you know?
yeah, I hope they don't do that. I really hope it's just you cut their head off or squish their skulls and their brains are mashed potatoes. Like
Yeah.
that'll do it, maybe,
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah.
then I'm just pissed off because, like, for story purposes, obviously Nolan
Well,
didn't finish off the first guy, so he could come back in later for a surprise attack, right?
right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we do have the scene where Nolan's like, "Here's the exposition on the Viltrumite Empire. We all did Hunger Games on each other, right?"
Yes, correct.
So in theory, there
So
should
he
be
should know.
he should know, but we should also know that, like, hey, is disembowelment enough to kill a Viltrumite? I'm pretty sure we saw scenes of Viltrumite dying. Or is this just an example of
Yeah.
someone with huge willpower, too angry to die? Real Doom guy stuff.
Right. I don't know. I just hope from now on, if you were trying to kill a Viltrumite, you just cut their head off and you call it a day.
All right,
That would simplify things a bit here.
sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, and the other thing kind of interesting that happens is that Mark's trying to fight a Viltrumite one-on-one and getting his ass beat because of course it is, because he's invincible and he can't ever win these fights.
No.
Um and then Nolan's like, "Look, dude, look, kid, like you're holding back. You're pretending you're fighting an Earthling or something you're going to find on Earth. This is a Viltrumite. This is one of the strongest things in the galaxy. You cannot be holding back." And he says, "She is trying to kill you. If you're not trying to kill her, you're going to die."
Mm.
And I mean, I don't know. I've heard similar things before from people who've been in the military, who've been in, life or death circumstances. And they're like, yeah, that's generally how it works. Like if someone's trying to kill you and you're just kind of like trying to defend and like take them out, but not too much, then you're going to die because they're bringing everything they have at you and you can't stop that.
Right.
So anyway, so Mark starts taking it more seriously and actually kind of wins his fight, which is like, have we underestimated Invincible here? Is he really not as garbage as we think he is?
Mm.
Uh, but then he's got her like, bruh, like by the neck, and she's like looking defeated and kind of like sad, and he's like, "Aw, like, oh, am I a killer?" Like that's what he's thinking.
Mm.
He doesn't say it because the show's not that obvious.
Right.
But he's thinking like, "Can I kill this person?" And then she's like, "Haha, sucker," and she stabs him. And it's like, "Oh, Mark, classic good guy move, Mark."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, I hope you learned a lesson there.
Uh, yeah. I mean, what would that lesson be? Stab first,
The-
ask questions later.
When you're fighting a Viltrumite, do not stop and ask yourself if you are a killer. You kind of just straight up kill them. I'm sorry.
Mm, I don't know. Sounds like real Viltrumite kind of thinking.
It is. That's the other theme of this whole half of the season is that Invincible doesn't want to be his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of what he does is on the guiding star of what would Omni-Man do? I'm going to do the opposite of what
Well,
Nolan would do. And yeah, so him kind of tapping into his dad's side of how to handle things and trying to kill this Viltrumite, like that's an interesting
mm-hmm.
angle to explore, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to watching it eventually.
Uh-huh. Now that you know what happens.
There were something like this. I don't think it'll impact my enjoyment of it. Too
Fair
much.
enough.
Yeah.
Mm. Then the final thing that happens is other Viltrumites show up. Nolan is defeated by a guy that he took too leniently early on.
Mm-hmm.
So they're carting Nolan away, and they're like, "We're going to execute him for treason. But hey, you're here. We'd like you to go prepare Earth for takeover now.
Yeah.
It's your job."
I've seen that scene.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And if you don't, we're going to kill everyone. So bye. It's like, okay, good times. Good times for Invincible.
So I really don't understand the Viltrumite Empire and their plan because it's clearly like, hey, one or two of us, right? One of us could like totally enslave your entire planet. Two would just be faster. So we're gonna send one of you guys there to like prepare, whatever that means. Like,
Scout it out.
Yeah, but you don't need
right?
to, right? Like Omni Man could have done the job himself in 20 years, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean,
so why
part of
didn't
it
he? Why
was,
why was their
well,
plan to send someone to scout? Right? Like, I get it's because the plot needs to happen, but
part of his goal was to gather up the Justice League, right? To find all the strongest heroes on the planet, get them in one place
mm,
so they're easier to handle and easier to wipe out when the time comes. He's not hunting down the strongest earthlings.
right. But he's got 20 years to do it, right? Or
Yeah.
longer. Like, it doesn't matter if he's spending days and days and days and years, like the parallel universe, fighting an underground resistance. He's got time, he's got the lifespan, he's got the ability to do it. And if you come in as an alien to a planet that doesn't have a lot of alien contact, and you can just start picking off scattered people instead of, building networks of superheroes that can maybe
Yeah.
form underground resistances, you might get the job done faster.
True. True, true.
You know?
It is a whole long time that he's playing the nice guy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe they learned from this. I also always just wondered how many times have they been like, cool, Viltrumite infiltrator, procreate with this alien, have a kid. You better not catch feelings for it, though. You better not let it impact your performance in wiping out this planet. Like, how many times do you think that's happened?
I mean, judging by what we're being told and shown, not very often, right? Like
I guess
the
not.
Viltrumite as a people were happy to sit there and slaughter each other until the last strongest 100 was left or whatever.
Yeah.
That like they're cool with you know going in and deceiving an entire species and walking away after billions of dead, and like they're just like, I didn't catch feelings, it was fine.
No,
This is
but
a
again,
Tuesday.
it's not the billions, it's your child.
Right.
It's the child that is yours.
But I mean, I assume maybe that this has been going on long enough that they're like, well, some of us, that's how we were raised, that I get to
Yeah.
take them and they get to do what I did, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is what Nolan tried to do, was try to be like, "What up, Mark? So turns out I'm going to conquer Earth. I'd like your help." And there is a multiverse where Mark's like, "Cool, let's do it," right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Anyway, it's good. It's good stuff. Good show.
Yeah. I watched the Rick and Morty like you hyped up.
You did.
Yeah, it's fine.
How deep did you get?
So I think there was a new episode out today. I haven't watched that.
Okay, I haven't watched that either.
Yeah, but I've watched all of that. That's out. It's fine. It's good. It's not like
Okay.
mind blowing, but it's fun.
All right. Good talk. Great.
Like that's the
How
thing.
about
There aren't any standout episodes that I'm like, I need to talk about that. you know,
Mhm.
it's fun. It's fun. It's I keep seeing like probably the most enjoyable episode was the one with Evil Rick, Evil Morty, and like the Rick with the Omega device. Um,
Mhm. Rick Prime.
Rick
Yeah.
Prime, sure. Where I keep forgetting all of the background behind some of those characters. Like Evil Rick,
Ah.
not Evil Morty. I know that he like destroyed the Citadel and like ran for president, and then like before that had like a dome of Mortys that he was torturing, so they would use
Mask.
mask him or whatever. Right? Not like I can't remember what any of those plans and plots were about. literally,
Oh.
literally can't. And I've rewatched the show this year, like 3-4 months ago, maybe. Doesn't stick, and I'm like, I really like that episode. It's fun. But like the more I watch of the meta of Rick and Morty, it just makes me question all the other times we've seen a Rick just get shot and killed, right? But it's like, oh no, but these Ricks are self-regenerating and have shields, and their limbs can detach and stick into each other because all their tech's the same. But like when Morty takes over the Citadel and he's getting his hair cut at the board of directors meeting or whatever, he's just like, all right, put a bullet in these ones. These Ricks are dead. Why are those Ricks so much less prepared than this Rick? You know.
Well, because I think they referenced this in this episode, but our Rick and Rick Prime were the first two Ricks to develop the portal gun.
No, that's not what they said. They were the only
Okay.
two. Like, I think they said that they were the only two to develop it themselves. Otherwise, Prime Rick goes around and just gives it to the others, right?
Okay. So yeah, they're
But
the two most rickest Ricks, right?
sure, but like, what does that mean? Like the rest of them
There's
still,
a scale.
right? But the rest of like all of the rest are also just still Ricks, and like they still get the portal gun technology and understand how it works enough to have Rick and Morty-esque adventures. You know?
Yeah, but the ones that are hanging out at the Citadel aren't smart enough to recognize that's a dangerous, stupid idea. The smart ones are all off on their own,
Mm,
right?
maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I just feel like any Rick who's willing to be part of the collective. That's what he says. The first time we meet the Council of Ricks, Rick's like, you guys are so not Rick. You've joined a club.
Right,
Like,
but we also learn later that Rick built the place in the beginning. Like he helped start it.
yeah. And then he was like, nah, I don't do parties. I'm out.
Right. So I mean,
Yeah.
what we're learning is that Rick's opinion on this can change, but we're just supposed to assume that all the Ricks who currently hold that other opinion are just inferior for reasons.
They are inferior. Yeah. I think that's what the show's trying to tell you.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
Okay.
Did you check out Pluto? I still have no idea who told me about Pluto.
Nope, I haven't seen Pluto.
Okay.
Nope. Have you watched any more of it?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
I'm not
then.
even sure if there is more of it.
Oh, so you've seen all of it?
Maybe. Sometimes TV does that. Where it's like, here's one thing, now wait for more.
Oh, is it currently airing?
Maybe.
It's got 8 episodes.
Oh, okay. So there's more.
Oh, these are like an hour long each.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So the idea behind Pluto is that it's a futuristic world where there are artificial intelligence robots of varying capabilities and appearances.
Mm-hmm.
And one super advanced robot that just looks like a dude is a detective. And somebody starts killing other super advanced robots, and he's trying to figure out who it is.
Okay.
So the first half of the episode was interesting. The second half was this whole independent story of like, here is a super advanced robot that was used for war. And now he's a butler to a cranky old guy, and the cranky old guy doesn't like robots. And here's half an hour of them learning to like each other. And I'm like, okay, this is not as exciting as detective stuff.
So what I'll say is that Mal, my anime list, says that this is finished airing. So those 8 episodes are it.
Cool. It's just like one story. Oh, that's so good. Is it a complete story, or are they planning on a season 2?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Okay. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
I'm also planning on starting Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix.
I've heard good things.
Me too. From multiple sources. So I'm going to give that a try today too.
So, okay, so I'm looking at the original manga for Pluto. There are 8 volumes of that, so assuming that one episode is each volume, I don't think there'll be any more unless they release more.
Rad. When did the volumes come out?
2003 to 2009. So
we're good. They're not doing any more. 14 years later, like, see the second run of Pluto. Yeah, probably not going to do that. Good. All right. It's annoying to me because I do like shows to take their time with stuff, and I like them to give us characters and develop them and have arcs and progress, but my gosh.
Yeah.
That last 30 minutes of that first episode felt like 45 minutes or an hour. I swear. It was a lot. And part of it is because I knew where it was going. As soon as you introduce an older, cranky character who doesn't trust robots into a world where there are tons of robots, he's going to start to trust the robot. We know. You can just do it. It's fine. You don't have to take any time on this.
That's funny.
Maybe that's my fault. Maybe there are plenty of people who saw that and they're like, that is so beautiful and lovely. I didn't think his heart would change. I didn't think he'd ever come to love his robot butler. I've never seen this before.
Oh man, there was. I don't have it, do I? No. So sometimes I see Reddit comments, and I put them aside in case I want to bring them up on the podcast.
Yeah, okay.
I saw one today talking about Attack on Titan, how
Okay.
that, and I'm gonna try and do this as close to verbatim as I can remember, but it was like it was a lot of anime do that. Once they get past the big reveal of like what's going on, they all just become about the same generic shit. People feeling things and mostly about racism. And that was describing Attack on Titan. But, you know, here we have there are robots and a cranky old man and people feeling things.
And racism against robots. That's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the old guy's like, any music that comes from a machine isn't real music. And I'm like, oh, that reminds me of people talking about AI that makes art and it's not real art.
Mm.
That's an argument we're having today. This is great.
Yeah.
That was interesting for 4 seconds. And then I was like, we are still doing this 20 minutes later. Ah! Yeah. So I'll keep it going. We'll see how it is.
Fair enough. If you want another like another thing that's in the same vein, I watched I don't think I finished it, and I think that was my fault that I didn't finish it, not it. But there's an anime called No Guns Life.
Okay.
Where humanity reached like a technological zenith or something at some point and started making, they called them extendeds, I think, and they're just cyborgs. And during some like cataclysmic war, they took people and turned their entire heads into guns and gave them like extreme power, but not the ability to fire their own weapon, right? Like, because their head's a gun, you can't like reach back and get the trigger.
Oh yeah, of course. That makes sense.
That was like how they keep a leash on people, right? Like,
but someone can walk up behind you and go pa pa pa.
Well, I still think it's a two-person process, you know.
Oh, you can't unwillingly be fired, but
you also
cannot
can't
fire yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think basically after the war, the story is about a guy who's got a gun for a head who becomes a detective. You know,
as you do.
I remember enjoying it.
Okay. Good review, I think.
What I'll say is it's got a 6.86 on Mal, so not quite 7, but you know. It's only 12 episodes.
Right? That's always nice. You know I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, good. We done? Got anything else to cover?
Did you watch the show I recommended? Goodnight World on Netflix?
No.
The Isekai?
Oh, right. You were like, it's an isekai, but it doesn't suck as much as the other isekai. And I was like, okay, but
it doesn't. It's not a trash isekai. It's
I did not.
Okay, that's fine.
But I don't know. I didn't come out of that conversation convinced at all, to be honest with you.
Okay. I mean, I can tell you more about it.
Well, I'll give it a try. I'll watch the first episode.
Watch the first 2.
I'll watch the first 2 episodes. They're only 24 minutes.
Yep.
Okay. Deal.
Yep. Deal.
All right. Wonderful.
Sweet.
All right. Good.
Wrap it
So
up.
that's going to be it from us. Nice spending another podcast with you, Liquid Duddles. Yeah, that is.
Duddles.
Yeah.
Oh,
you are.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, the Metal Gear Solid reference took me by surprise. That's all.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Like, it's funny. I love it.
So So that's going to be it from us. This has been Falcon Paladin and Liquid Duddles with another episode of the Falcon Paladin Hour. Thanks for hanging out with us here on twitch.tv/Somicron every week. Same time. It's Tuesday here, but it's Wednesday in Australia, so figure it out.
No,
The
it's
VODs are
Tuesday.
also...
It's Tuesday here. It's Monday for you.
I don't know what day of the week it is. It's Monday here, but it's Tuesday in Australia. I have lost all concept of time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, I mean, we've done that for a while. The VODs are also available at youtube.com/@Somicron. You can support the podcast by buying merch at falconpaladin.store and by subscribing and pledging at patreon.com/Somicron.
Sure.
So that's it. Come hang out with us. Come ask us questions. Come find out if the Codex supports this action.